Hey there, and good morning. Happy Sunday morning. So, this is the 11th episode of the Inside Report. And as we were sitting here, our team was sitting here talking about what we were going to cover today on the report. I wanted to talk about something that has affected me personally and affects millions of Americans, and that is obesity, right? Let's just talk about and call it what it is. There's been different kind of plays on the word fat, PHAT, which has been mostly kind of referred to women, pretty hot and tempting kind of thing. But the fact is, a number of Americans are overweight, and there's a stigma that comes with that. Uh, when I was in high school, when I was in elementary school and middle school, I was a pretty chunky kind of kid. And when I got in high school, of course, like most kids, kind of slimmed down. And I don't actually have a picture. You probably should have a picture of my high school days. But it wasn't something that was on my radar. If I had known that my family genetically, I was predisposed to kind of getting bigger, I probably would have. I don't know if I would even taken it seriously back then, because when you're a teenager, you just think, that's somebody else. That'll never happen to me. That's why, you can join the military at 18 because you think you're invincible and you can't die, you know. But lately I've been slimming down over the past few months, and because of the things I have to do around the studios and the property, I move a lot more. But I've struggled with this for like almost my entire adult life thus far, and really kind of get it under control. I mean, I've done all the things I've done. I was doing the Jenny Craig with my mom. I've done Weight Watchers. I've done juice cleanses. I've done fasting. Not as good as my wife is in fasting. I mean, she did like the church fasting where they would do stuff for like weeks, and I'd be like, did it for like 7 hours. I'm good. Yeah. So I went to the gym. I've done 24-hour fitness. I've done Planet Fitness. I've done Gold's Gym. I've done it all, and I've went on that roller coaster, that yo-yo up and down. And the whole thing is, I'm wondering what is the key? And I think one of the things we're starting to find now, scientists are starting to find now, is the key lies not in the physical body, but it lies up here. And I wanted to show you guys some things here where they're talking about, when we're talking about obesity, there's three things we have to, really look at. And I'm talking specifically for the United States and America, because different parts of the world address obesity differently. In some African cultures, a sign of obesity, in some, not all, is a sign of prosperity and wealth, because if you can afford to eat like that, you must have some money. So, but when we're looking at specifically from the American aspect of it, let's look at it from that standpoint. First thing, of course, it affects your body, it affects your health, it affects the things you can do, and that takes a physical toll, you know. But then, even over that is your mind. You start to feel less attractive. Women start to feel less appealing. They don't feel sexy. Their sex drive goes down, as it does with men as well. And you start to feel you can't do this. And there was a study, and I don't know, don't quote me on this because I don't know who actually did the study years ago, but they were showing that employers tend to promote people that were less heavy more often than their heavier counterparts. Even if the heavier counterpart had more credentials, had more experience, and shown a greater aptitude to do the job, they didn't get promoted because the people that were thinner were perceived as being smarter, having more self discipline, having more self control. Irregardless of the genetic disposition of the individual, they figured, oh, if you're fat, you're sloppy, you're lazy, you can't think, you're dumb, and things like that. And some of those things are farther from the truth. I'm studying for my PhD, and I'm overweight. Does that mean I'm dumb? I would hope not. I mean, I'm ignorant in some areas. I can't speak certain languages, so I'm ignorant in those areas. But I'm able to do the job that I have been blessed to do. So I'm able to interpret things. I'm able to analyze things and look at them with a critical eye. And because of my weight, that doesn't hinder that. But in my mind, of course, sometimes I'm thinking, man, this is This is crazy. Why am I getting this kind of pushback? Why am I getting this kind of perception? How come I can tell somebody about something, but then if somebody else comes along, and it's happened to me in my corporate life and of course in my entrepreneurial life, where I've said one thing and I thought I've delivered it with such zeal and with such influence and things like that, and then what happens is I wind up not being taken or interpreted the way I want it to be, and somebody else comes along and says that same thing, and they're just like, "Wow, that's incredible." Really? you know. And then, of course, that goes back to society. Society believing that if you're overweight and you're obese and things like that, that you can't do the job. Now, granted, in my current frame, I'm not going to go and try and do a job of a marathon athlete, of a triathlete. I'm not going to try and be an Olympic track star because I'm just not set for that at this point. But I've delivered over 6 children as a paramedic. I've worked on people who have been shot multiple times, and I've actually saved their lives. Some of you may know we have a pet ambulance company. We've done thousands of transports, and we've actually never had a loss in transit. So I'm able to do those jobs irregardless of my weight. So my medical knowledge is one thing. My physical prowess and ability in certain aspects is another. And those are things I understand. You know what I'm saying? And those are things I have to work on myself. But why is it that society, specifically talking about America, doesn't give you a chance and thinks that, well, if this is the way you look, this must be who you are? So Queen Latifah, of course, is addressing that. She's partnered with an organization called Novo, which I had never heard of before she actually partnered with it. But she did an interview on Sway in the Morning. She kind of talks about that. So let's just run that interview of Queen Latifah here. Where is it at? Where are you? There we go. Okay, there we go. So Queen Latifah is partnering with an organization called Novo, as I said, and the website is called It's Bigger Than. And she says, it's bigger than me, it's bigger than you. It's kind of a play on words, but it's really good. It's really wants to spotlight how we treat each other, irregardless of our body mass index, which, as a matter of fact, the BMI was actually formulated back in like the 1800s, and it was based on Caucasian males. This is an archaic, to me, I believe it's an archaic measurement system. Yes, it gives us a guideline for which we can then say, okay, this is where you should fall. But then based upon the way we work nowadays, the way we interject, and even people who have lived a long life with a high BMI. So it doesn't necessarily mean, I would say, that you're going to be dying tomorrow or you go, oh my God, it's just there's no hope. Because depending on your genetic disposition, some of these things you might fall within a certain range in the BMI index. But in regards to that, let's take a look at this video here. Where is it at? Here we go. This is Queen Latifah on the Sway Universe show.
I just need to say a couple of things about this obesity
Right.
thing. And,
Okay.
you can be out, sit in the car and listen to it.
Well, how about more than 40% of adults in the United States, that's 2 out of 5, are living with obesity.
How about that?
How about that, though?
How about them numbers?
Right?
4 out of 5 black women.
And what is considered obesity?
Well, technically, obesity is considered 30% body mass index or higher.
Yes.
30% or higher.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, right now, I fall into that category. So if you were to look at me, you might not think that,
Yeah.
but technically, I do.
Yeah, that's that BMI number she's
Yeah,
talking
that
about.
being number. I mean, there's obviously people go back and forth about but this and that and cultural differences
Yeah.
and what we feel like and what we look like and So I think when people think about obesity, they think my 600-pound life or
Right,
you have to
right.
be 4, 5, 600 pounds. That
Yeah.
is not the case.
Mm-hmm.
And obesity has to be tackled because, a lot of people are living with this and dealing with this. And as soon as I started to become a part of this campaign, I'm shocked at how many people have from our industry
Yeah.
have walked up to me like, "La, I want to be a part of this. La, what are you doing? Hit me up on,
Yeah.
DM me or hit me up and like, how can I be a part of this? This is my life." I'm talking about
Wow.
successful people. I'm talking about Grammy winning people. I'm talking about now maybe Oscar winning people. I'm talking about just regular people in our own families.
Yeah.
Are like, how can I find out more about this? What is this? And what it is a very complex issue. You know what I mean? And so this is me teaming up with Norvo to just create a conversation
Yeah.
about it, to take away the stigma, to take away the shame surrounding it, to unpack the whole thing,
Yeah.
and really just allow people to voice their opinions about it.
So that was the Queen talking about that. Now, the funny thing is, I want to know what is it that makes people, well, we all know people have this stigma and everything. And why is that? Why is it that people feel that if you're a certain size, this is just who you are? And we got to change the mindset. And when I talk about changing the mindset, speaking of that, I want to thank our sponsor, the Black Legacy Wealth Project. They're changing the mindset when it comes to financial literacy and creating generational wealth. And they're doing a phenomenal job to help people live better, happier lives. And we want to thank them for their sponsorship today. But why is it that we in the United States have that mindset? As I said, this is not a perception of all societies around the planet, but specifically for us, and especially when you work in the entertainment industry. How many, and if you can just chime in here on the chat, we'll put you on there, how many people have had the experience when you work in, when I'm talking specifically talking about people that have to be in front of the camera. I'm talking about models, I'm talking about actors, I'm talking about singers, I'm talking about those that have to work in the entertainment industry, and that falls within that realm, have had that situation to where we've all heard the stories of models who are suffering from bulimia because they want to get into that size 3 or that size 4 dress because the designer just doesn't make it any bigger. Now, I know over the past few years we've heard Lizzo, the singers come out and she said, I'm going to approach the subject of body shaming and I'm going to make sure people are happy with their bodies and everything. And then we see it going on where Lizzo is basically, the memes and the things come out where people are saying she's been basically telling her dancers, if you don't lose some weight, you're fired. I don't know. They say there's two sides to every story, then there's the truth, right? So, but the whole thing is we know that when you're inside that bubble, when you're inside in front of the public, what is it that makes people feel we have to look a certain way? As long as we can do the job, if you can sing, if you can act, why is it in order for you to act, I want you to be a certain size? In order for you to sing for me, I want you to be a certain size. Aretha Franklin was a phenomenal singer, and I didn't see her definitely, doing the thing. But then Luther Vandross, another phenomenal singer, and we've all seen, the things that he does. Fat Luther, that's Skinny Luther, and he went up and down, and some say that even contributed to his passing on the different diet plans he was on. And where did that come from? Supposedly, and I don't know, allegedly, we should say, people in his camp and his management team were telling him, you can't book these gigs if you don't lose weight. And then his ability to do an entire show was hindered by his weight. But did his weight, whether he was larger or skinnier, did it affect his voice? His voice was still smooth and velvety. That was Luther, no matter what. So we still accepted Luther for his size. We accepted Aretha Franklin for her size. And of course, so I think we need to look at ourselves and as a society and start saying, what is it that we need to fix in here that we have a problem with here, you know? So that's it for the Inside Report. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and I want to thank once again our sponsor, the Black Legacy Wealth Project. And remember, everything that you do starts here. Anything you can conceive, bring yourself to believe, you can achieve. And that's a scientific fact. Until later, until next time, I am David Watts, and this has been the Inside Report. Take care.